everybody. It's funny to be up on this stage when I was sitting where you guys were not so long ago. So today I'm going to chat about Omaze, but before I dive into sort of telling the story about making giving fun and easy, I'm someone who doesn't really get to know what a person's doing until I understand a little bit about their backstory, and so I thought because that's how I understand things, I thought I'd share a little bit of my backstory with you guys because that might put into context what Omaze is. So my co-founder Matt Polson and I, we met at Stanford, and we very quickly became best friends because we shared this passion for storytelling. And when we graduated, that brought us down here to LA, which is the epicenter of storytelling. And we started to pursue that passion, and over time that brought us into cause content, a lot of different campaigns around social impact. So we had really fantastic opportunities in that space. We had the chance to be the first directors on Live Earth, which was the largest concert ever thrown in 2007, 150 music superstars all around the world on the same day. We had the chance to be early producers on what was then a project called 10 by 10, became a documentary called Girl Rising about educating girls in the developing world that was narrated by Meryl Streep, funded by Oprah, Queen Rayna, and a really incredible project. Had the chance to interview a couple hundred Nobel Prize winners, MacArthur Genius Grant recipients, Pulitzers, as part of this media property we created called Untitled Thinkers, and then later leveraged all of those things to become content producers, the executive producers of a globally televised concert called Decade of Difference, which was the Clinton Foundation's 10-year anniversary concert. Now, the point of my rattling all those things off is that while we were doing those, we started to see this pattern over every single one of these different cause campaigns that we were working on. And that was that with each one of those, we were creating a lot of awareness, but we weren't creating the level of impact that we were setting out to. And we took a survey of the landscape of cause content, and we saw that that was something fairly endemic to the space. You could make a lot of noise, throw a really big party, get a lot of people excited, but it was very difficult to sustain interest, to create donors who are actually lifetime donors. And it's very difficult to create a business model around that. So we knew that we were passionate about storytelling. We knew we were passionate about social impact. We knew we wanted to pursue this. We had no idea how we were going to do it effectively, so we both went back to B school. I came here to Anderson, and Matt went off to Wharton on the East Coast, and we spent 2 years literally surrounding ourselves with people that were far brighter than we were, with the goal of trying to find a business model for this passion, trying to find a way that we could create a sustainable revenue stream and something that could grow and scale around social impact and storytelling. And while we were doing this, we were trading ideas back and forth and working on a lot of different projects while simultaneously learning about accounting for the very first time, which I was not great at. And we went to this charity dinner. It was hosted by the Boys and Girls Club of America. It was their national gala. They were honoring Magic Johnson. And Matt and I are lifelong Magic Johnson fans. Like, we could not have been more excited. That was pretty much why we went. We were into the social impact, but we were also really excited to see Magic Johnson. And while we were there, Magic stands up, and you can imagine how excited we are as lifelong fans when Magic decides that he's going to auction off the chance to hang out with him and sit courtside at a Lakers game and do it all for just one lucky person in that room. And so when that auction kicked off, we were the first hands up. It's $50. Boom, we're up in the air. Shoots up to $100. We're still going. Shoots up to $250. I'm getting like, okay, that's like my beer money. Shoots up to $500. We're looking at, a quarter of the rent for a month in LA. And then all of a sudden it goes to 1,000, we're out. 5,000, we're sad. 10,000, we're mad. 15,000, and we're just bummed. And we were really bummed because when we were driving home that night, we got to talking about it, and there were a couple things that really stood out to us. One was we actually knew the guy who had paid the $15,000, and we knew that he was not a Magic Johnson fan. And so that really crushed us. But we were also bummed out because Magic, he's this global icon, right? Total hero. He's someone who, for the Boys and Girls Club, $15,000, that's a sizable amount of money. But they should have been able to raise so much more money with someone like Magic Johnson, right? And they should have been able to garner so much more awareness for Magic getting behind them and being passionate about this cause. And we were talking back and forth about this, and we were like, you know what? Think about how much more money, how much more awareness if for $10 anybody could go online and have a chance to win that same experience. And that was really where the idea for Omaze came up, was in that moment. So what is Omaze? So we run a company that raises funds and awareness for charity by offering the chance to win once-in-a-lifetime experiences. So that could be anything from riding in a tank and crushing things with Arnold Schwarzenegger to attending the finale of Breaking Bad. You get to dress up in a hazmat suit, jump in an RV, and ride with Bryan Cranston and Aaron Paul to the finale, to sitting in with Jon Stewart on his very last taping of The Daily Show. So it's these once-in-a-lifetime experiences that very few people ever have an opportunity to participate in. But, like I said, we're storytellers. So we knew that if we created an online technology that could give people, really democratize these opportunities to the masses, then we could really leverage our storytelling and content around these experiences to get that word out there. So rather than me talk about it, I thought we'd show you a very quick example of that.
Hi, honey bunnies. Quick question. Have you had the best night of your life ever on Earth yet? Well, you could. With me. For a good cause. Here's the deal. You donate $10 or more for a chance to win the RDJ experience. I correspondingly fly you and a friend out to LA, put you up in a 4-star hotel, and proceed to awesome the crap out of you. Talking indoor skydiving, helicopter tour, maybe a pit stop at Randy's Donuts. After riding your sugar high all the way to a fitting for a tux or gown, we're gonna meet up for a little pre-premiere caviar. One of those could be in your mouth. We'll giggle, chat, take pictures, perhaps even engage in a battle of wits. Kidding, or am I? Around about sunset, we make a grand entrance at the venue. You walk the red carpet, and then you become one of the first people on Earth to see Avengers: Age of Ultron. Even if you don't win, you still get all kinds of swag depending on your donation level. Plus, all proceeds go toward funding Julia's House. This place is amazing. It's a hospice center for children with terminal illnesses. It's a win-win. Go to omaze.com/RDJ for your chance to win. That's OMAZE.com/RDJ. It wasn't bad, that last take, but it was 16 and a half minutes. Are people gonna appreciate that when you post it?
So that's Omaze. So like I said, here are a couple different experiences, and I want to share with you guys the results that we've seen through this model. So this was our second experience with Arnold Schwarzenegger. Our first experience was the chance to ride in a tank and crush things. This one, I hope you guys have the 7-second delay here, but you got to blow stuff up with Arnold Schwarzenegger. Wear a hazmat suit, go to the premiere of Breaking Bad, attend the final episode of The Daily Show. Jon Stewart interviews you. Once-in-a-lifetime experiences, right? At auction, when very similar experiences like these went up, they raised anywhere from $15,000 to $25,000. I think if you get it in a really, really loaded room, especially with these exact experiences, you can really start to get up to maybe 50, 75. If it's a super loaded room, $100,000. That's rare, but you could get up there, right? Through Omaze, we got to see that these ended up raising $1.1, $1.7, and $2.2 million for their respective causes. Yeah. And we were blown away with this too. It was a struggle for our first 8 months. The company was going through the learning process of figuring out how to put it together, what to make work, what not to make work. We went through a number of different experiences, and ultimately we got to this stage where we saw that these could repeatedly raise millions of dollars. But what was also really exciting for us was that not only did it raise this type of money for some really incredible charities, it also brought on a whole new wave of donors and raised awareness for these causes too. So those videos that we create, those would end up garnering, tens of thousands of new donors, as well as millions, if not hundreds of millions of impressions around these different campaigns. And we actually tracked all those and saw that that was the case regularly. And then we had this question, how global is this opportunity? Can we really get this out there to the masses? Can we raise even more money? So we decided that we didn't decide, we got the opportunity. to do an experience around Star Wars The Force Awakens. I'd love to say that we just decided we'd do an experience around Star Wars The Force Awakens, but no. We got very, very lucky. Lucasfilm, Disney, J.J. Abrams, and Katie McGrath, those are some really incredible entities and people, very, very creative, and they decided that they had this very strong franchise that they wanted to be able to leverage to the benefit of a cause. And so we did the chance to win a walk-on role in Star Wars Episode 7. Very early on in our company, when we didn't even yet have the resources that we have now to be able to do these experiences. But we wanted to see how global it would go, and this was all to benefit UNICEF Innovation Labs. That ended up raising $4.26 million for UNICEF Innovation Labs, and what was super exciting for us, it had donors from 125 countries around the world. And so, thank you. Thank you. And so the model's been working. It's been working a lot. And like I said, since then even, we did that, I don't think we ever told Disney this, but we did that when we were about 15 people in a room and still trying to figure out, could we make this work? And when you have that type of opportunity, yes, you're going to make it work, and we did, and we were extremely grateful that all of those folks gave us that opportunity. We've been really, really grateful for the impact that these experiences create. So just to give a little bit of an example of that, over the course of these campaigns, we've been able to deliver 1.8 million days of life-saving HIV treatment. That was with a campaign we did with Bono and Red. We've been able to do 5.5 years of satellite imaging that exposes and prevents genocide. That was a campaign around the Satellite Sentinel project that George Clooney offered up. That experience, by the way, was the chance to go on a hot date with George Clooney and walk the red carpet. That was before he got married to Amal. Since then, he's done his second campaign, which was you got to sit across from George Clooney, and he would just stare into your eyes and compliment you for 45 seconds. 11,700 people with access to clean drinking water. That's part of a water.org campaign. Water.org is spearheaded by Matt Damon. He did that as part of a best friend double date with him and Ben Affleck. So we've really got to see this impact. We've now done, since we launched in September of 2012, over 250 experiences to benefit 150 different causes. And so we've really been so grateful. And when I say we've done this, what I'm really talking about is the Omaze community. I'm not talking about Matt and I, though we're so grateful that we're able to do it. I'm talking about all of the donors that are coming forward, seeing these videos, and actually making donations. That is the grand we that we're always talking about. And so I just wanted to share how exciting it can be when you step into a brand new sector and you really put forward that effort and you see that you can create that impact. But it's also really exciting to see that not only can a person step into a brand new sector and create impact, you can have a ton of fun doing it. Giving, when made fun and easy, can be really rewarding. And so not only have we been able to see all of these results, but we've been able to have a lot of fun. So this is a quick story. Robert Downey Jr. had the chance to live the best day of your life with Robert Downey Jr. Got to fly out to LA with you and a best friend, get suited up in a tuxedo, go indoor skydiving, take a helicopter ride over the Hollywood sign, and then meet up with RDJ for caviar, as you saw. I mean, he said all these things. I don't need to repeat them. And that was for Julia's House. So this was a hospice center for kids who have terminal illness. What I didn't know when we were starting this campaign is that hospice centers, especially when they're for kids, they're not just for those kids, right? It's an incredible thing to be able to give young kids who are given this tough roll of the dice an opportunity to have some dignified time in that space. But they're also for the parents, and they're for the siblings of those kids. So these parents oftentimes, they only get 2 to 3 hours of sleep a night. They have these siblings who are 4, 5, 6 years old who have no idea what's going on. This is, they're growing up just like anyone else, and they don't understand how their life is unique. And so to be able to put on a campaign that is, in its spirit, a ton of fun, but is really trying to raise a tremendous amount of impact is something special. And in this case, Julia's House was trying to raise $1.75 million because they wanted to build a second hospice center. And through Robert Downey Jr. supporting this, and whenever we partner with a celebrity, what we're so grateful for is the fact that these are really, they're not celebrities, these are people who care. They're the most creative people on the planet. They're extremely passionate about these causes, and they're willing to leverage their influence to support those causes. So in 5 weeks, in an effort to raise $1.75 million, Robert Downey Jr. lent his time and all of his energy towards this, and he ended up raising $2.1 million for Julius House. So this is the illustration of the new center. They've actually now acquired a brand new space and just signed a 999-year lease for the second facility for Julius House. As a result of doing this campaign, Robert Downey Jr. has decided that he would just launch, we just finished his second campaign with Omaze, where he launched a brand new fund, Random Act Funding, which is a cause dedicated to giving out spot grants throughout the year that he knows create impact. So the first one was for Make-A-Wish, for Motion Picture Television Fund, and for the Anti-Recidivism Coalition, 3 really incredible causes. But like I said, these experiences, they're about the impact, but you can also have a ton of fun doing it. So we at Omaze love to be able to celebrate that fun on behalf of the people who donate and on behalf of that person who gets to act as an ambassador to all of those donors to go on these really incredible experiences. So I'm going to go show you guys one more video of a little bit of what it looks like when someone wins one of
I
these.
hate to tell you, John.
No!
Just kidding, you're going, you won! Congratulations. You won, buddy. You won.
Now I'm getting on the road!
Oh my gosh, you're kidding! Oh, that is awesome. Oh my god, I just won. Dude, does anybody here watch Parks and Recreation?
Oh my god!
What I love, I think what I love most about those videos is when else do you get to see adults act like 5-year-olds again? You know, when you see the whites around the whole of their eyes and they just get so excited, it's a special thing to be able to see that on a regular basis. So I thought I'd just sort of bring it back to this room and where you guys are, because I still feel like I'm sitting in that beanbag. I'll probably be sitting in a beanbag later tonight. When I was at this same spot 5 years ago, I had no idea what I was going to do when I was leaving Anderson. Matt and I had spent a lot of time trading ideas back and forth. We knew we wanted to pursue this. We spent a good part of the year researching it our second year. But then we had this opportunity. He was looking at a really nice consulting job. I was actually looking into private wealth management. This is ridiculous to me now to think about that. But we were looking at these high-paying corporate jobs and trying to figure out, you know, we're already in student debt. Can we actually go out and do this? Is that feasible? Isn't it reasonable? But we took the plunge anyway. Right now, the individual giving market, individual giving per individual total, 200, like how I said, let me say that one over. Right now, individual giving is a $240 billion market. $240 billion market. Only about 6% of that is online. So when you guys are thinking about what you are going to do when you leave Anderson, I really recommend, or at least encourage, that you consider philanthropy. And you consider it not just as a nice thing to do or a feel-good thing, but as a really wise business decision. The tools in the philanthropic sector right now are super archaic, and there are not enough companies out there that are really accelerating the change that's needed to match the decreases in funding for all of these different causes around the world. What is needed is incredibly bright people who can go in and can really disrupt this space. And you guys, just by the nature of being here, are incredibly bright people. You're trying to think about what you want to do next, and I highly encourage you, just as a thought exercise, to consider going into philanthropy. It ends up being incredibly rewarding. You end up seeing a lot of impact back, and you get to have a lot of fun. To wrap this up, I think I want to just share one or two more things while you're here and while you still have this time here at Anderson. What I highly recommend doing is meeting as many people as you possibly can here, meeting as many people who don't think like you think or don't have the same background as you, and trying to get as much exposure to them as possible. Sit down, have lunch with every single person in your section, try to understand their backstory. Make use of the classes. With Omaze, Matt and I both took brand classes, and we spent a significant amount of time thinking about higher purpose and the higher purpose of the company that we wanted to build. And for us, that was Omaze. Our higher purpose is we serve world changers, and that has really been at the core of everything that we've done. And I don't know that we would have done that work had we not both taken brand classes. I took brand management, and it was amazing. It changed my life. The Wolfen Award was mentioned by Maya. That gave me personally the opportunity to spend a summer really researching this. I'm so grateful for that. So I want to thank Anderson for that. But make use of those things. And then the other thing is make use of every resource that Anderson can give you. I went to Dean Olean, and I basically had found a entrepreneurs conference that was not part of Anderson, not part of the schedule. And I don't know, do you remember this, Dean Olean? Yeah. And I went to a room, and I'd spent a significant amount of time like researching the people that were there, seeing how it fit into my BCO. And Anderson was kind enough to give a partial scholarship, partial grant to be able to attend that. Now, I had to go through the process of literally putting together a PowerPoint that I think detailed everything I've done since I was 5, and showed them like how I'm going to end up using this entrepreneurs conference to create a project that takes that information back to Anderson and shares it with the students. So you guys put me through the ringer. But Omaze got its very first investor from that conference. So we would not have been able to find that very first investor had it not been for that. And then the other thing that I'll say is that dinner that Matt and I went to, that dinner I went on a total lark, and Matt came along. We went as part of a Price Center D for 8. And Pat Morin, who's a board member of the Price Center, invited us to that. And that really gave back in so many ways because that was the inspiration for the company. And not only that, that night I actually met this girl at that dinner named Lisa, who ended up becoming my wife. So you have no idea what you can actually do if you just leverage the resources that are available here. And Matt can say the same thing about his experience. So I just want to thank you guys for listening to this story. Highly encourage you to make use of your time here at Anderson. Be grateful for your time here, and go out and do something good. Thank you.